All our panelists were very bright in their answer and very concise. So we have approximately 15 minutes for question and answer. Those who want to have a question, please raise your hands.
Thank you very much. My name is Dora Fiani, and I'm chairing an NGO. Biogas is mainly used at a very village level. So my question is, on the specific biogas potential value chain, could one propose to investors, again, addressing the issue of technology, as to how do you integrate biogas into the network, to whom it's going to be sold? And it would help, on one hand, cleaning the villages of Egypt and obviously many other countries. But the issue from, I would say, a person working in is that you do not see the outcome and the market.
Yes. I think when it comes to biogas, the biggest challenge is securing the supply, the flow of supply, because exactly it is generated from a lot of small units. For the investors to bring real money into this, they need to be sure that there will be a constant flow of supply of this of the first materials. And there the trick is that it needs support from the state in the beginning stages, because you need gathering stations localized in a way that they will be useful to communities, definitely with support from the state. And then you need also a regulatory environment that will provide security for the investors, for the potential also to have the continuity, but also, let me put it differently, when people who are giving their waste, the agricultural waste, beginning to realize how important it is that they're doing, they're going to want higher prices. And this is also something that an investor down the line sees as a potential risk. So you need a regulatory environment that will make sure that people are getting paid properly, to use their facilities to feed the system, and the investors feel secure that this will function. I think strong initiative from the state is crucial, but it's actually the only product that it's there. It has immediate environmental benefits, it has benefits social to the people, to the small villages, and it can feed in straight to the system as it is and help lower the CO2 levels.
Thank you very much. Let me see if someone else. I have a question here. Who else? And then a question there. Let's start with the first row, with this gentleman in white. Short and quick and short.
Thank you very much. My name is Samir Qaraish. I'm a former Vice Chairman for Energy Transition and Sustainability at the Egyptian Natural Gas Holding Company. It's my pleasure actually to join this panel. At the outcome of this panel, I have a question. As you know that the EU, it's for the panel.
But, please identify one counterpart.
Yes, this is for the EU.
Yeah, so
the EU rethink their strategic geopolitical alliances with MENA region starting from May 2022. Up till now, the current landscape of this strategic partnership, it's not matching with their capabilities. I mean, with all of these countries, in particular for the financing of the new projects of energy transition, or I mean green fuel. Up till now, the execution of such projects is not matching with the accelerated of the right pathway.
So with this question, the quota for Mikhail is closed. No more question for him, only for the other panelists.
Okay, thank you. First of all, being from Greece, I can definitely not talk on behalf of the European Union. We have had our problems with them, so I'm not talking about on behalf of. I'm not. Oh, I'm very pro-European Union, but I can definitely not. So I'm talking only on behalf of myself, right? I think I don't know what is going to happen, but I think it's very early. It's very early that the European Union realized that there is strategic benefit for the European Union with a close cooperation with the Eastern Mediterranean. Before the Russian invasion, this was just a theoretical concept. Right now it's a necessity, but it's very soon for the European institutions to conceive this, to make this into action. So we're only seeing the very first steps. It's very early for the European Union. Now that they materialized that this is a strategic partnership that we need to go deep into, it will take some time until this will really materialize in projects. So we need time.
Thank you. There is a question over there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. عادل صبري صحفي جريدة العربي الجديد. اوكي. واجه ملف الغاز في منطقة الشرق المتوسط تناقضات السياسات الأوروبية في إدارته من 2014 حتى قامت الحرب الروسية في أوكرانيا. هذه التناقضات أثرت على تنفيذ مصر بعدد من المشروعات، وكانت معطلة لمشروع مصنع الغاز تسييل الغاز في دمياط حتى اشتعلت الحرب ووظفت هذه المشروعات لصالح أوروبا. الآن ما زالت هذه التناقضات تسير في اتجاه معاكس رغم تحسن العلاقات ما بين مصر وتركيا ووجودها بشكل جيد مع اليونان وإسرائيل. الآن يعني إسرائيل تتجه إلى إبعاد أو إنشاء مشروع منافس مع تركيا أيضا مستغلة هذه التناقضات الأوروبية. فكيف نرى هذه التناقضات على مستقبل مشروع الغاز في البحر المتوسط؟ شكرا.
Thank you.
He's saying that the EU position towards natural gas and their policies have been conflicting with each other and changing a lot of hypocrisy involved, and that this has affected Egypt's projects in that area and has affected their efforts to try and collaborate with Turkey, and you are messing up things. The EU is messing up things.
Yeah, I answer myself to this because the quota with Mikhail is finished. I said yes, there is no common. There has never been a common European energy policy. There are different energy policies. Just consider that there are countries which are still strong on coal, countries which adopted nuclear, countries which go to the gas and to nuclear gas, and so on. So there is no cohesive policy. And when the war started, the priority for everyone was to make sure we had gas. So each minister of industry would for each country would travel and try to find gas. So I'm not surprised by what you said. That's the reality. There was a question over there, and so I have three questions to end up, which is there, then the lady here, and then you gentlemen. Please.
فعلا الجزء الخاص بعد الحرب الروسية الأوكرانية هناك حديث كبير جدا عن كميات كبيرة من الغاز في المنطقة القطبية، وده المستقبل اللي بيلعب الاتحاد السوفيتي حول علاقاته بالصين في هذه المنطقة الواعدة بكميات كبيرة جدا من الغاز والطاقة المتجددة. ده تحدي لأوروبا برضو وتحدي للمنطقة ككل. وأنا مع التحديات اللي اتقالت حوالين الملف المصري في إنه هو يعني مش مع كل ما بنبصش ليه في إطار شامل، زائد بعد الحرب الموضوع الغاز الخاص بتسهيل شركة الغاز في دمياط وتأثيرها. والكلام اللي سيادتك قلته حوالين التحديات ان في تحدي خاص ب ان يبقى في تكامل، التكامل ده بتواجهه مشاكل سياسية حقيقية. شكرا.
Thank you very much. Yeah, but we need the question first. He does everything. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, sir.
The question is mainly about the rise of natural gas and how it could be used in the North Sea by Russia, and how that can affect the future of natural gas, and that's mainly the question.
That's affecting Egypt's chances and the area in
Yeah, but I thought, Walid, you would also answer to the question. No, because it's no, he translated the question to me. That's nice. No, are you expecting me to answer?
No, I'm expecting Axel to answer.
So you know, this was a real tough question. This
Tough
was a real tough
They are-
question. You
they-
know, everyone's skipping the answer.
They have
So
discovered
let's
the
put it. Let's
potential for natural gas there by Russia, and how is this going to affect the natural gas situation in the region?
okay. So while someone thinks the answer, so let's give them a couple of minutes to think, and we get another question in the meantime. The lady here, please. And
Thank you for the interesting discussion. I'm Amira Sabr, a member of the Egyptian Parliament and the Secretary General of the Foreign Relations Committee. Actually, me myself, I have introduced the bill to the Parliament for climate neutrality of Egypt by 2050, but this has, and very logically, met a kind of political resistance because, as everyone knows, there is a huge global challenge in terms of the transition. For the transition actually to be fast, it needs first to be just. And here comes my question. The question is, from your evaluation, how do you see the collective attitude of the global north in actually fulfilling its commitments in the arc between the energy and climate, especially after the war, given that some promising or actually important European countries has shifted their energy policy completely, while in the international scene they have been forcing a lot the countries of the global south to commit and to do this transition fast. This is number one. Number two is in terms of the very quickly.
One. Let's start with one.
I will
we
do
see
the second one.
We
yeah,
come back
in
to
the
Egypt
discussions.
in a few months with other questions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is for Michael, and in the meantime, I think Axel has thought how to answer to the gentleman a few minutes ago. But let's start with Michael. Okay, Michael, how would you answer to the very important question that you raised, the North. First you, to the lady. Yeah, yes, please. Let's give him more time.
Okay, just transition and fast transition. There is no way we'll have a fast transition, and that's that. The transition that we're talking about, which is the transition, because we keep saying this word, energy transition. What is energy? That's the transition to energy that is producing less CO2. Okay? It's not going to be fast. And that's for granted. Now, yes, that's very important. For me, the importance of the transition being just has nothing to do with being fast. It has to do with actually having longevity, because we have to understand that in order to transit to better energy forms, it will cost money. And one way or another, this money is going to be paid by the people, either in their bills, or if, when we talk about subsidies, eventually they go back to the taxpayer. So it's going to be paid by the people. And for people to accept this extra burden, it needs to be just. So it needs to be spread across in smart ways that everybody benefits. But fast, it's not going to be. So for me, it's not an issue. We're not going to have anything fast like that.
Wait. We have an extra panelist. Why don't you stay? Why don't you stay? No, why don't you stay with us? No. No, but so we. Yeah, he answered to her. So we.
Can I add something to her answer? No, what
the
is happening
just,
between to the justice?
Yes, of
it's
course.
not there. Okay, between the north and the south, it is not there, and it will never be there until the voice of the south reaches where it should be, and this will not happen unless you change the entire international system, not just the financial infrastructure.
Okay, and this is the topic of our next meeting, a 2 days meeting in which we will discuss how to restructure the world architecture. But I promise we will all come back, including Axel, who now is ready to answer.
No, it's working. I think it's okay. So thank you for the question. The effect of the war, I mean, on the gas market. So clearly, we have seen a fall in the by 1/3 approximately in the gas import from Russia. I mean, so some people could say it's not that much, but it's already a lot when you have to find 50 BCM of natural gas. So it has been matched by a large increase of non-contractual natural gas, which means basically LNG, from various destinations. So first US. I've seen a boom in the LNG export, and this will last in the future, I guess. This non-contractual gas represents half of the EU import right now.
Thank you very much.
Let's add, well, if Russia discovers natural gas in the North Pole, it's going to become more powerful than it is right now, and this is going to cause a bigger problem than what the world is in right now. And I think this might end the war, because the EU and the US are going to realize that they cannot stay enemy with Russia forever, and the earth is not going to open and swallow Russia, and they would live happily ever after.
Let us go back for the Mediterranean. I am university professor, educator, plus I'm from the World Wind Energy Association in Bonn. For renewable energy, we have not touched the offshore wind, which is now in different places, stronger wind, and there is no land and there is no long transmission line. The Mediterranean can be a playground for offshore floating wind farms, and wind there all the night and with high capacity factor. And Suez Canal Authority can be a place for building in their shipyards to build these components. Then for the price of hydrogen, we should touch two components: local manufacturing, which are the structure of the offshore wind farms. And second one, I am calling, if we are touching Saudi Arabia and we are touching Mediterranean, there is no education in the region for green hydrogen. I've been calling for capacity building, and the EU has mentioned this year is the year of capacity building. There is no green hydrogen academy in the region for MENA and for system. So I'm touching two components to reduce the price of green hydrogen: capacity building and local manufacturing. And then we can have job opportunities. It is also a social problem. Thank you.
Thank you. So your question allow me to give the floor again to Michael and Walid. Michael, can you imagine you were not supposed to be in the panel, and 80% of the questions were for you. So if you were not in the panel, we would be here like asking someone to help us answering, as someone did. Okay, so and then there is also a Suez economic zone implication. So I ask the two of you to give a short answer, and then we may close our session. Please.
Thank you very much. For offshore wind. We have to realize right now that we speak, offshore wind loses money. The companies who are having offshore wind floating windmills, they lose money. Actually, a few days ago, there was another project cancelled, and there was, I think it was Vattenfall, I don't remember what company was, that they announced really big damages because of their offshore wind, and they have begun having legal issues in the United States and in the European Union, because now they want support from the state, from the countries, because they say our cost has been going up, we have had fixed prices, and these fixed prices are not good enough, so they're actually not making money, and now they want subsidies all over again, while this thing was over in the normal wind sector. So this is not as easy as it sounds. And the last thing about offshore wind, the Mediterranean is not the North Sea. Mm-hmm. So far, this has been the North Sea, 200 meters depth. Mediterranean, you go 500 meters and then you have 1,000 meters depth. It's not the same. So we're talking only floating. That's what I wanted to finish. That's what I wanted. So when we're talking about offshore in the Mediterranean, it's only floating, and then it has these problems that I just told you about. So.
Let me, before I give you the floor for the final answer, it's from what you said that solar is not sea solar is not profitable, and as many other sources. It goes back to what we said in the previous meeting, that in the end, the bottom line is that fuel fossil extra profit will pay for the transition, because he's the only one being surely profitable, and that's the bottom line of all our consideration. And this is a good news for some of the countries represented on the table. And now it's you on the...
Before we talk about offshore wind, let's talk about onshore wind. Let's exhaust it first. It's not fully exhausted. There's a lot of areas in Egypt and elsewhere that's not fully exhausted. It's cheaper, it's more efficient. When that is exhausted, then we can go to the Mediterranean or Red Sea and have that floating, or even the conventional one. Because the differentiation between the renewables here, whether it's solar or wind, compared even the wind to the North Sea, is that we're much cheaper. If they were the same, then the hydrogen there would be as efficient as the one would be in Egypt. So there's no comparison. Still, the cost for onshore is much better. On the second point, your dream has come true. We have put the cornerstone for Egypt's first academy with El Swedi and Bank Masr that has a component that will start operating by the academic year of next year, specifically part of that for hydrogen, green hydrogen. Oh, they're working on that, but the one, it's Swedi Academy? Swedi, STA. This is it.
Okay. I think you agree with me in joining for a round of applause for our panelists, because they were, for this a live conversation on a serious topic, timely and serious topic, but we managed, I think, to be in a sense light in our approach to very serious problem. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much.